All right, good morning, everybody. How's your Friday shaping up so far? Mine's just getting started, to be honest, but let's go through what retailers have in store for us this weekend. So this is just the regular time of the day where I go through links on my TekAdvisor.ca site and try to see if I can dig up newer, fresher, better deals for you before I publish the Friday noon newsletter. So I'm going to get started right away. If you've got any questions, just planning to buy might be something as trivial as buying a new mouse this weekend, or maybe you're planning to buy a whole new computer, let me know, and maybe we can just see essentially what kind of perspective I have on your eventual purchase. All right, so this ultra wide monitor, currently no change in price over on Newegg. Still at $210. That's not expensive for an ultra wide and curved monitors nowadays. And that touchscreen laptop went back to what Best Buy identify as regular price, so it's back to $700. So we'll have to find another deal for a 15-inch touchscreen laptop. Same with this open box deal over here. Although that one is no longer available anywhere. So that deal passed. And this laptop went up in price by roughly $100 as well. And yeah, I usually start my search with whatever is popular on the site at the moment. So right now, based on the traffic on the last 24 hours, those devices are the one that people were the most interested, most curious in. But since Friday is the day where Best Buy announced their new rebates, a lot of deals have changed since then too. So it's my opportunity to start cleaning up whatever is happening and keep tabs on the new prices over at Best Buy, as well as availability too. That way you don't have to let's say go to the store only to realize that oh, they're sold out already. Definitely something that tends to happen. Another out of stock link. Another 15-inch laptop, which is fairly popular right now. This one is still available over at Staples. Yeah, same price and everything. Still on the same rebate it was. Although Staples announced their new rebates on Thursday usually. but I can see from the graph that it was already priced that way before. All right, slight update slight update lag there. Sorry about that. Seems like Staples is a little long to answer on their API, so let's just go and turn that off for the morning. Every once in a while, I have to do some emergency coding on my site. Sorry about that. All right, let's see. All right, the fix is live. It should not slow me down for the rest of the day. Let's hope. So yeah, didn't receive the full array of flyers this week. Only received one from Best Buy, so not sure exactly what's going over at Staples this weekend. There's quite a few new devices on the market, however. So yeah, I had a fair amount of research and data entry to do yesterday to research the new technology available to us. Some pretty interesting stuff there too. New generation of processors from Intel and AMD are pretty attractive right now. All right, so HP has this specific notebook in stores. Price hasn't changed, but there's an extra coupon, but it's for HP toner, so that doesn't change anything for us there. Not really shopping for a printer today. Although I will be adding printers to TekAdvisor.ca eventually. Just that right now I don't really have. I didn't implement all the comparison stuff to actually make the research, which I feel is appropriate for a printer. That one is still out of stock at Newegg's, been out of stock for 22 days. And yeah, that's one of the thing with my approach on TekAdvisor. I always operate on data. So when instead of just forecast, just taking retailers at their word that there's going to be a certain rebate on this day and all that kind of stuff, instead I'm based on price history. So sometimes I catch stuff that they don't even promote. And when we encounter a device which is, how would I say, as such frequent rebate, then the discounted price is actually the actual price. Well, TekAdvisor is also able to see through that. Because there's just some devices out there that you really shouldn't buy at any time unless they're discounted. Because that's actually where they're at actual price. So that one is still online and in stores over at London Drugs. And yeah, it might sound a little weird for me to look for laptops at the same place where you'd buy mouthwash and bandages, but London Drugs has a pretty serious IT department, and I tend to keep tabs on them simply because sometimes they have pretty interesting deals. So yeah, they're worth considering every once in a while at least. They even have their own brand of PC builds. It's just that they're pretty small and it's starting to be a little hard to see what those builds are capable of. I might research those eventually, but yeah, right now they're mostly gone from the site. All right, that laptop is available at Amazon still. Still pretty popular. Comes back on the trending list pretty much every week, this one. And it's definitely not a strong laptop, not at all. It's almost a netbook in that way, but it's got a 17-inch monitor on it. And that 17-inch monitor is pretty low res, so as a result, it's what I would call a large print monitor, because things will naturally look a little larger there. So for anyone that is a bit tired of squinting at the screen and stuff like that, well, that's not a bad choice. You'll feel more comfortable right off the bat on this one without having to go in settings and zoom in on stuff. that one tends to display things a little larger naturally. So for someone with simple needs and tired eyes, that's not a bad choice. It's also available from a lot of different retailers. So it's pretty, you've got plenty of choices to buy one of those. There's quite a bit of competition going for that one, although that seemed to have resulted in a pretty stable price judging by the graph I'm seeing there. Guessing it's always on sale somewhere. You just have to find where it is that particular week. Yeah, still available at my computer shop as an online order. eBay is it. It's even got 30-day free returns on it, so you're pretty much as protected buying that on eBay than you would be in a store, maybe even more. So if you're not sure, that's you've got 30 days to return it, and you won't even pay for the returns either. So definitely worth a try. Just can't expect mind-blowing performance from that laptop. It won't do much at once, and it won't do it fast. Still fine to browse the web, check online videos, even Skyping and stuff like that. That won't be much of a problem. Maybe even open a Word documents every once in a while. Not available at Staples anymore. Actually, that's a pretty hard error it's giving me there, so they're probably not going to have it in store anymore. So we might be observing that laptop going out of stock a little bit everywhere. Let's see, another ultra wide monitor with an IPS display. Currently looking at the B&H listing, and the price is a little different every day over there simply because, well, dollar value change a little bit between the US and Canada. I don't usually list US retailers offers on TekAdvisor.ca, but B&H actually makes a pretty significant effort to serve Canadian consumers well, so I tend to consider them in my research at least. So refurbished desktop computers, not a big change over at Newegg right now. But yeah, I often find you can find pretty valid workstation on refurbished desktop just under $300. And yeah, sometimes those things are more capable than, let's say, modern laptops, and they come with all the modern essentials that you would need. So if you're a little strapped for cash or something like that, you can buy one of those for 300. Maybe get a $100 monitor to go on top of it, or if you're even more limited for space or stuff like that, you can just hook it up to the TV and use it in the living room instead. So yeah, it's for that price, it's very versatile. Because yeah, you could. There's a few laptops at in the $300 range. You just really don't get much there. Usually in the $300 range, I would rather buy a Chromebook or something like that. And Chromebook is fine for a lot of people. That's personally what I have for my laptop right now. Because yeah, it serves my purpose while I'm not in front of the desk very well, better than, let's say, a smartphone or a tablet even. Uh, but yeah, there's a few limitations there. So if you need to, if you want your options open, or maybe even for the kids' homework and stuff like that, often a refurbished desktop is your better option there. Usually, it's pretty easy to find them certified and with a good long warranty on them too. So that's why they make it on the site. Otherwise, I wouldn't list them. Yeah, to be listed on TekAdvisor.ca, things have to be a pretty safe deal. I'm not going to list used device in unknown conditions or without warranty and that sort of thing. So when I go with used or refurbished product, usually it's not much of a risk, because I assume that my visitors don't want to mess with that sort of stuff. If you're a little bit, if you're comfortable doing your own IT work, your own maintenance, then you can start going on Kijiji and services like that, buy something used and deal with whatever baggage the device collected over years. But I assume that my visitors don't necessarily want to play doctor with their new purchase. Galaxy Tab 8 is back in stock over at Memory Express. Used to be in stores only, now it's online as well. And yet, latest wireless trackball from Logitech. I did consider that one, and I would still be curious to try it out. Just because I like to try mices and input devices in general. Right now, I'm alternating between trackball and mouse. But I went with a Kensington mouse instead because I wanted the trackball to be. I wanted to activate it with the middle of the hand, not the thumb. Simply because one of the reason I sometimes take a break from my current mouse. I've got a pretty good gaming mouse, which is actually very versatile, and I really love that mouse. The only problem is that I have to keep a claw grip on it. I've got pretty large hands too. So I end up having cramps in my hand from grabbing it all the time. So the sides of my hands get tired from using the mouse, so then I switch to the trackball, and that one lets me basically relax, give the sides of my hands a break, and use the middle of my hand instead. And yeah, I was surprised. I didn't expect to like using a trackball as much as I did. Um, especially since I have a pretty large array of monitors around me. So I have to drag for much longer distance than most people. So the trackball works very well with irregular desktop, I find, because it's not affected by the proportion of your screen as much as a mouse. Even played a few games with it, but yeah, let's say it's not its strong suit. The sculpt, they were gonna make desktop from Microsoft. Yeah, that's pretty interesting set. Usually I'm not a big fan of wireless controllers. I don't like taking care of batteries. I'd much rather have a wire on it than change batteries every once in a while. I tend to use stuff for a very long period myself, so batteries are almost the first thing to go. So yeah, if there's a battery involved, usually I'm not very interested. But in for the sculpt, the interesting thing about it is there are some are gonna make downsides to having a numpad on your keyboard. That gives you a slightly um, that force you to take a wider posture than what would be advisable. And yeah, by having the numpad separate and wireless, you can basically place it anywhere you want on your desk, and when you don't need it next to your keyboard, you can just move it away and use that space for your mouse instead, resulting in more natural posture too. So that actually made sense in that case. The fact that it's wireless lets you reconfigure your workspace any way you see fit. So yeah, that idea actually has some merit. That monitor is online only over at the source. And yeah, that's what is usually considered a gaming laptop, and not laptop, monitor. And what makes a gaming monitor is there's a few things. That one is a little bit on the old school side of things, and which means that yeah, it's mostly a very fast monitor. It updates really quickly and has minimum ghosting for fast movement, stuff like that. So if you're playing very fast-paced game like, let's say, CS:GO and stuff like that, it's going to do things pretty quick. Um, More modern gaming monitors have stuff like G-Sync or FreeSync on them, which basically means that instead of the monitor updating at a fixed rate and just taking new images from the graphics card whenever it updates at the time, uh, instead it's waiting on the graphics card. So if your GPU is able to push only 40 FPS instead of the full 60, you're not going to be getting partial frames because it doesn't have a new image to give the monitors every 60 times a second. And as a result, it often feels smoother even at lower frame rates than um, a more expensive monitor without FreeSync or G-Sync options. Heard pretty good things about it. So yeah, if you can't invest in the latest, greatest GPU, a monitor with G-Sync can help make things feel a little bit more fluid for you. And it's probably going to last you longer than a new video card too. Samsung Galaxy A5, online only at Walmart. That monitor is still available at Amazon. Hasn't been very popular lately, just got qualified for a random check last night. And that Zoe widescreen LCD gaming monitor, still on 220 over at the source. That is online only, however. You won't find that one in stores. Microsoft Surface Pro over at Amazon. And it looks like they're the last one to carry this model. Not bad spec from what I see, but yeah, it's a pretty expensive device. It's worth the investment if you need something very compact and with good battery life and quite capable for the size, but yeah, you definitely pay a premium for that. A little bit the same thing with this MSI Vortex here. You can get more capable gaming PCs out there, but this one is very compact. So if you like its look and you need something for your media center or something like that, or if you're very cramped for space but don't want to go for a laptop or all-in-one, because let's face it, this thing is still easier to upgrade in the future. Well, it's not necessarily a bad pick for that. Depends at what price you can get it for. It's still at a $700, almost $800 rebate over at Microsoft too. So it's been that way for a while though. It's a pretty expensive proposition even with that kind of rebate on it. And that Surface Studio all-in-one is only in stores at the moment. And yeah, no changes in price there. Now, classic MacBook Pro. Actually, no, that one is the MacBook 12-inch. always had trouble recommending that one. Not only did they do away with the ports we usually expect from a laptop, so you don't have regular USB on this, or you don't even have a headphone jack. Um, but also it's pretty expensive for the size and power you get from that device. So usually, yeah, I don't recommend those. You can get an actual MacBook Pro for the same price, and the MacBook Pro is a lot more capable. It's bigger. It's not as fun to carry around necessarily, but I don't know. There's lots of options out there. Alright, so it's available in stores only. Um, that might depend on stock at your local Microsoft store. But yeah, 4 gigs of RAM for Microsoft Surface Pro i5. Yeah, probably not worth considering for some people. And we've got this one. Yeah, it's online only on this Dell Inspiron 13. It's a 2-in-1 PC, so you can use it as a tablet or a laptop, or even one of those as a tent or something like that. There's a few different posture you can use it in. And usually that's not a good feature to have in terms of durability, thickness, price, and all that. It's going to drain your battery a lot faster than just having a regular screen, not a touch one. But it can be handy for a situation where you're standing near the computer when it's in use rather than be sitting in front of it. So if that's your style, it might be worth going for a touchscreen laptop and or convertible. Alright, so that monitor is now in stores online and in stores over at London Drugs. Yeah, 27-inch monitor is that's pretty spectacular usually. And Samsung usually does pretty good panels as well. Alright, no changeover at HP on this convertible laptop. Galaxy S6, of course. That's probably the hottest smartphone on the market right now. Sadly, it's not a lot more capable than, let's say, the S8. However, it's got a nicer, it definitely has a nicer camera. And battery life's not much better right now, but it could improve in the future, so it's a little bit of a question mark in the whole scheme of things. But considering the price it goes for, I'd say, unless you're very hardcore into what kind of photography the S9 is capable of, you're probably better off going for the S8. S8 has a great camera already, so it's not like you're sacrificing much. Alright, looks like I went through all the trending stuff. Let's see what I can find for the trending device of the day. Alright, so most popular lately has been that 15-inch laptop with an AMD processor here. And yeah, it's a Best Buy exclusive at 700. Alright, let's see if I mentioned it recently. Yeah. Alright, looks like I have an issue with the ads over on Twitter, so won't be able to use my usual workflow. Let's see if I can search my recent posts. Oh no, that's true. I don't post those on Facebook, so it has to be Twitter. Alright, let's try that again. Had a few snags this morning compared to usual. Sorry about that. Alright, looks better this time. Alright, now it works. So last time I mentioned that on social media, that laptop came back, came up on the 21st, so yeah, 6 days ago. Probably wait at least another day before I bring it up again. That 15-inch HP laptop from Staples I mentioned on the 22nd, so let's wait a little more. $26 on the touchscreen laptop from HP, so that one's fresh from yesterday. That one's not even in stock. All right. I created that entry last week and it's starting to trend a little and wasn't brought up as a trending device yet. All right, let's take a look. So 15-inch gaming laptop. It's an Asus. No optical drive, which is common nowadays. We don't use DVDs or Blu-rays as much as we used to. Yeah, it's got a 12 gigabyte memory, which I personally consider a little bit of a red flag for, at least for a gaming device. It sells for just a little bit over $1,000 and doesn't have a solid state drive either. It will unlock quite a bit of gaming options for anyone. That's the good news. It's just not quite what I expect personally from a $1,000 plus gaming laptop. But hey, that's what is currently popular, so that's what is going to be the trending device of the day. Alright, so that bit is done. Um, I'll just go make more coffee and I'll be right back, okay? I'll leave you with a list of recommendations sorted by popular user archetypes, so stay tuned. And we're back. Sorry about that, everyone. Just felt a little stuff. And of course, looks like I have another snag. I'll be right back. Okay, things look back on track for now. So let's get back to our 2-hour updates. So far, I haven't found interesting price drops in my process so far. Got, wow, almost 500 entries to update, so quite a bit of work ahead of me this morning. I'm only 10% done. So I might need to focus a little bit more than usual this morning. Sorry in advance for that. Every once in a while, you have one of those mornings where things are not going smoothly right off the bat. And apparently it's one of these days. At least no major blockage yet. So I will definitely take that. Problems I can fix in a minute or two, I can handle no problem. Alright, and we've got a $200 rebate on this Omen Gaming PC over at Best Buy. Yeah, it will bring it in line with the pricing available on HP's own pricing. So that way you can decide if you want to buy it online or in stores. Which is always good. It's always good to have options, you know? When there's too many options, you might need a little bit of help, like myself, to sift through them. But that one's a pretty easy one to handle. Still out of stock at Best Buy on this desktop PC. And price went back up on this convertible laptop, although it was on final clearance and now it seems to be gone everywhere, so it's probably going to disappear pretty quick. from Best Buy at least. I see HP still carries it, so might be your last opportunity to buy this one. So certified open box on HP all-in-one. Not a bad deal for all-in-one computer. They never rank quite as well as, let's say, tower computers and stuff like that, but they can still be worth the investment if you need something either that's easy to move from one house to the other, if you're someone that moves on a regular basis, like if you're renting or maybe you're a student and you probably end up having to move every year or so. Definitely know I moved a lot back when I was in an apartment. They're also really nice for as kitchen computers because they usually don't have any electronics in the base. So let's say if you had a spill with a laptop on the counter, you might damage the computer with while with all-in-one with a larger screen, it can be further away from you, and even if you spill it, well, you're probably not going to damage the computer at all simply because there's nothing touching the water there. And that gaming PC hasn't been back in stores yet, but at least it's available online now. Okay, and we're getting a more substantial price drop on this Microsoft Surface Pro. I don't recommend those very often because they're quite pricey. Yeah, Microsoft Surface Pro. So yeah, you're paying $1,400, and at that price, you don't even have the keyboard or the stylus for that price. So you could be adding as much as $300 to that price tag already. If you compare that to some laptops on offer, it's not the best value proposition necessarily. It usually beats those alternative on battery life and a few little things like that. It's also lighter and smaller, but not necessarily by a huge margin. There's portable, pretty capable portable computers out there. Don't always have to go for the big gaming laptop in order to have something powerful on the go. Alright, this this Mac Mini is back in stores at Best Buy. It was out of stock for a day. Not sure exactly what happened there. $650 on a touchscreen laptop. So yeah, price is still the same, and that sale ends next week. So ends on May 3rd. So roughly a week from now. But yeah, otherwise unchanged. Classic MacBook Pro. So yeah, if you need to get some work done while away from home, that's definitely a classic. Those things are relatively powerful and have pretty good battery life. not necessarily the cheapest thing or the thing offering the most bang for the buck, but it definitely caters to a niche of roaming creatives that currently is not served that well by so many people. Right, it's still online only for this refurbished computer. And let's see, okay, another price drop, this time on this gaming desktop PC over at Best Buy. Probably going to bring it into a pretty attractive value proposition at that point. Let's see what we have in there. Pretty capable i7 1060. Yeah, not a bad value proposition at all. And no change on same device, but this time with the op the open box offer Best Buy have on their website. Still could allow you to save a little bit. Considering that this is a desktop, you've got more options to resolve whatever issues you might encounter with used device. But usually those certified open box, yeah, you're not risking much. And price went back up on the Galaxy Tab A over at Best Buy. So unless Staples raise their price as well, Best Buy is not going to be the place to grab that tablet at this point. Considering Staples don't usually change their prices on Friday, it's pretty safe to assume that yeah, it's not gonna change much there. And no change on the trackball. Or the Apple iPod Touch. Yeah, I think the coffee I started upstairs is now done brewing, so I'll go grab that and I'll be right back, okay? All right. Coffee will help, especially with the amount of work I've got to do this morning. So let's see. Price went up on this Galaxy Tab S2 as well. Yeah, it's strange. I see tablets pretty much go in and out of sales in mass these days. Usually I would see one get rebated, and that was pretty much it. But these days it's pretty much all the Samsung stuff goes in rebate at the same time and goes back to their regular price at the same time too. And it's probably the in wake of the newer iPad that I'm still waiting to see in store, by the way. It's not supposed to. I haven't seen anyone carry the 2018 model, and Apple on their store are very vague about it. It's very hard to know which iPad you're actually getting from them right now. So, yeah, looking forward to listing the newer iPad. It's just not in stores yet. It's not like it's going to make a huge difference either. But the good thing about it is that it's going to bring the price down on an iPad model which is very capable still. So yeah, the 2017 iPad is definitely worth considering, especially since we've seen a drop in prices quite a few times. So yeah, if you were waiting to buy a new iPad, that's definitely a good period to do that. Mm-mm. It's online for $69.99. The yeah, G600 MMO gaming mouse. Used that one for a while. Kind of like that mouse. It's especially for the price it was going for. It was a larger mouse which had a lot of functions. And I kind of fear that it would be hard to use because of all those buttons and the fact that I need to lift the mouse on a regular basis because of the amount of screen real estate I'm using right now. But actually was surprisingly usable. And yeah, price is going up on this screen over at Best Buy. Not by a huge amount though. Oh, but that's an interesting price drop. $200 off on this desktop computer here over at Best Buy, so you can get it new. Let me check what it's capable of. Yeah, decent enough performer. Got quite a few options open to you with this specific model. No change on that convertible Chromebook. Again, no change there. Yeah, sometimes I wish my Chromebook would have a touchscreen on it. Feels like a few things would be easier with my personal use of it. Mm, Right, no change there. Again, no change. Yeah, I left the dogs out, and apparently there's something interesting going on at the back fence. They don't seem to be barking too much, so at least there's that. Okay, price went back up on those speakers. And a price drop here. So yeah, $1,900 for the Omen Gaming PC right now, which might bring it into, I might figure on the newsletter as a part of my recommended list for at that price actually. Portia Spectrum mouse, which is the one I'm using these days. Definitely recommend it. Very comfortable mouse. I've seen it come down in price much lower than where it is currently, however. That was the kind of pricing that I was seeing back when it first came on the market. So if you want a new gaming mouse, that'd be one I'd recommend, but wait until it drops in price a little bit. There's a really nice deal on this one every once in a while. Alright, this no longer sold over at Best Buy here. So I'll stop tracking that because it's a hard fail there. Alright. 15-inch MacBook Pro. Yeah, those are expensive, but they're quite capable too. So sometimes they're worth the investment, especially if you've got to do some creative work on the go. So graphic designers or even video editing on this model is actually not bad at all. Pretty easy to find, but yeah, it's at 2500. Usually it's out of the price range where I recommend buying anything. But yeah, for people with special needs, it's still worth considering sometimes. And yeah, I'm not the most vocal today. Sorry about that. I'm. But yeah, with the amount of updates I have to go through this morning, kind of taking advantage of the fact that the stream is really quiet at the moment. And I'm trying to be as productive as I can because I want to have as much of my inventory reviewed and ready by the time I leave for the to write the newsletter. Because yeah, my Friday is like this. I start well earlier than usual um, to check on the pricing because there's still a fair amount of manual work that needs to go into TekAdvisor every day. So got a robot doing most of the work, but I always want to keep an eye on it and make sure that everything's correct. I tend to be more accurate than the APIs do. So yeah, there's a few hours of work every morning making sure that data on the site is correct. And yeah, after that, I'm off for the newsletter. And after that, I do the video version of the newsletter by the end of the evening. So quite a bit of work ahead of me today. It's one of my most hectic day of the week for sure. Because I publish quite a bit. Tomorrow's stream on Saturday is going to be quite a bit calmer, simply because I don't have as much to produce that day. So yeah, I can be a little bit more chill about it. But yeah, Friday morning is the rush to update everything in time for the weekend sales. And try to have a newsletter in people's hand by noon so that they have something to read on their work computer during lunch hour. So yeah, I got quite a few publications every Friday. Got the Tech Word Buying newsletter, then Tech Word Buying video. It's 2 minutes and a half roughly, and covering pretty much 20 something device I would recommend buying this weekend. And some of them are on rebates, some of them are just a good purchase at a regular price. Because believe it or not, but yeah, rebates are not always applied to devices which are worth your time. So I go through the list and yeah, I publish that every week. But yeah, in the morning, it always starts with gathering my data and making sure I have everything I need to, all the research I need to publish my newsletter. Price went up there. $90 on the Sculpt Comfort Wireless. A slightly older design by Microsoft. It's still a reliable one. Just not a big fan of the wireless feature on that one. I don't see much of a reason for it. Alright, no change on this listing. Yeah, and the way these things goes, I'll always try to order my price checks in it's first order by interest. Then I check for whichever retailers commonly have their new sales starting on specific day of the week. So today is Best Buys and Vision Electronics days. And since I have to do manual updates on the price for those two, that means that, yeah, Friday morning, usually I stop with Best Buy and then Vision Electronics. And then I go down the list by basically the ones I recommended last. So I'll go through the list of devices I've ever recommended. And eventually I make it down at the bottom of the list where those devices haven't received much attention either from me or even my readers. So it's very unlikely that as time goes, it's more and more unlikely that I'm going to cover something interesting. So that way, even if I can't afford to spend enough time to do a full update on the site, I'm probably going to at least cover what people are going to care about. And yeah, there's definitely trends. Most of the time, people are most interested in laptops on rebate from big retailers like Best Buy and Staples in the I'd say in the 400 to $700 range. That's usually where the interest is located the most. There's also a lot of research on Fortnite these days, because that game is so incredibly popular. It pretty much blew everything else out of the water on the site in terms of popularity. So getting a lot of traffic over Fortnite compatibility. All right, interesting price drop at Best Buy there, but only by $60. But still, uh, that's a huge monitor with pretty good response time, so definitely suitable for gaming. If you're, let's say, a cord cutter and you don't care much about standard TV anyway, and you'd rather have a computer and maybe watch your Netflix on it, that might work in a lot of rooms actually. It's pretty affordable for that too. No change here. And this one's dropping to $1,500 over at Best Buy. So yeah, could be a contender for the weekend. We'll see about that later. Still no change here. And I just reached 25%, so a quarter of the way in. Still quite a bit to update before I can publish my newsletter. Okay, this MacBook is back in stock over at Best Buy. Online only for $2,000 pretty much. So nothing too spectacular there. But options are always good. Still out of stock at Best Buy on this one. And $800 on this touchscreen laptop. So back in store after a one-day break, but only online. That's the only thing. And I've got a hard fail on this listing over at Best Buy, so they're probably done selling it altogether. So I'll stop tracking that. No change on Galaxy Note 8, but then again, there's not really a lot of competition for the Note. The Note 7 got taken out of the market so quick. Note 6 at this point is so old. So nothing's quite competing with the Note 8 there. Except smaller phones, of course, but people who buy the Notes have pretty specific needs usually, which makes it, let's say, that contributes to making the device a little bit pricier too. It's a bit of a specialist device in today's market. So 4,600 on this Microsoft Surface Studio. A little bit expensive by all-in-one standards, and unlike most all-in-ones, it's got its electronics in the base. And that's something it uses to its advantage for sure, especially if you're using it for art or anything like that. But considering that I really like all-in-ones in a kitchen setting, having the electronics in the base there makes them a little bit more fragile in that context. But given their prices, it's probably, I don't expect them to get used in a kitchen setting ever. Alright, and a price drop on this 17-inch Alienware gaming laptop. 17-inch laptop of this caliber are a little bit of a hard sell for me. Not only are they a little bit beyond the price range where I'm comfortable recommending stuff, but they're so large, so heavy, and so expensive. What they're good for the most is when you don't, is for the gamer that doesn't have a dedicated gaming space in the house, where you have to reclaim a desk space every once in a while to do some other kind of stuff. There, the 17-inch laptop is a pretty interesting proposition simply because it's still small enough to be folded over and stashed somewhere else when you need the space. It's, however, a little too large and too heavy to really consider carrying it around on a regular basis. Back when I worked at university, the amount of students I saw with health issues just related to the fact that they were carrying around laptops which were way too large for them definitely convinced me that, yeah, nobody should try to combine everything to a 17-inch laptop. It's just going to wreck your body pretty quick, even if you're young. But yeah, as long as you don't leave the house with it very often, a 17-inch laptop is, well, it's mostly fine. It's a flexible way to use your space, and sometimes that's really all you need. It's just a little short-lived, and simply because a laptop doesn't have the same upgrade options as a desktop would, especially if you're a gamer. Yeah, the main challenges at this point for gaming on a laptop are not the power itself, because yeah, the laptops themselves are more than powerful enough. We barely see a price drops nowadays between the desktop version of graphics card and its mobile version. Used to be a pretty big difference, but now it's very, very close. But yeah, the amount of throttling you get because of heat management, then how noisy those things get. But yeah, the worst is that, yeah, it's you're not able to upgrade the graphics card in a few years, which means that you're probably going to get rid of that laptop pretty quick. And considering how pricey they are, makes it a little bit of a harder deal, harder pill to swallow. And then there's the whole comfort thing. If you're going to spend hours in front of the device, I would definitely recommend doing that in front of a larger screen and in a more comfortable setting that, let's say, having a laptop on your lap, especially considering how hot those things get. And no amount of laptop risers or cooling pads or anything like that are really going to compensate for it. So yeah, the main reason not to game on a laptop are essentially ergonomy first, because yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable. That's pretty much it. Second reason is upgrade options. You won't be able to um, lengthen the life of your laptop as much as you would with a desktop if you're a gamer, because you will want a new graphics card in, let's say, 3 years. Let's say you're playing it conservatively. But sometimes you just you're on the move so much, or there's so many people around here that just spend so much time in work camps and all of that, that yeah, it's worth having a portable gaming computer so that you can play your favorite games while you're stuck in the middle of nowhere for maybe even as long as 2 weeks. But if you have the luxury of having, let's say, a home, or at least an apartment where you will do most of your gaming, there's no reason to carry your gaming PC all the time, especially if you only game at home. Then maybe you'd be better investing in a stationary gaming PC and have a more modest laptop to carry around, especially if you carry it a lot. For instance, if you're a student or something like that. Yeah, nowadays I would even say that if you want portable gaming, the Switch is very attractive for that kind of purpose. It's delivering such a great portable experience from what I'm hearing, and it's serving the indie developers so well. Sounds like for once you're going to have a pretty extensive gaming catalog available to you on the Switch, which is not very common for a Nintendo product. Yeah, and when I did the price analysis, basically how much it costs per year to play on different platforms, the Switch still compares very well to most other platforms out there. The only thing cheaper than the Switch right now, I think, is would be playing on the iPad. Even though there's definitely pitfalls when for mobile gamers out there. It's definitely the one where there's the most traps to be careful about, and that's where the amount of money you will spend of software per year can vary the most. With all those microtransactions and all those manipulative tactics they use on that platform as a standard way of doing business, there's definitely a few traps you have to be careful about there. Oh, slight price drop on this one over at Visions Electronics. They say limited quantities, so they might be liquidating that. Price is pretty good, and I like the feature I see there. Pretty likely to be a part of the recommendation of this week newsletter. Yeah, and it's not even listed as a rebate right now. So that's why I do things the way I do. Sometimes I find hidden deals that way. And no change here. Yeah, Vision's electronics are starting to be pretty widespread in Canada. And lately they've been killing it on the gaming laptop front. Their pricing have been very good. So if you're looking for a gaming laptop, it's probably one of the most interesting places to look, in my opinion. Even though, yeah, it's not a computer shop. Sometimes when I get the flyers for Vision, it's nearly hard. It's almost hard to find the computer section. Sometimes there's barely one. But every once in a while, they've got pretty good deal over there. Alright, no change on this one over at Staples. Dropped in price relatively recently from what I'm seeing here. And this one is back available in stores from what I'm seeing. So more option to buy that 15-inch laptop from Staples. So let's see. Yeah, still no surprise on the HP side of things. Sometimes they have coupons and stuff like that that I can add on top of what the API is telling me, but not in this case. Coupons today are applying to ink cartridges. So in store and online on this Samsung Odyssey laptop. Yeah, heard many mixed comment on that laptop. Because yeah, it's a matter of pricing. It's priced relatively low right now, but yeah, at its regular price, people were not too hot about it. But it's one of the reasons I do things the way I do too. When you review a product and just assume it's going to be sold for the MSRP, you've got a pretty good idea of what it's going to be like. But the thing is, people don't often buy products for the MSRP. So sometimes something that didn't review well under the right circumstances can become a pretty attractive deal. And then not everybody is able to necessarily be able to contextualize, well, this reviewer didn't like this device. Oh, but there's a $400 rebate on it. How this does this change things at all? Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It's one of the reasons why TekAdvisor.ca exists and why I start my listing from what's currently available in stores instead of just following whatever manufacturers I've created recently and want to promote it. Because yeah, I try to leave as little to the imagination as possible. Because I'm not expecting everyone following my publications to be even interested in tech, really. Just people that want to run their favorite games and programs. And that's also why I'm not doing, let's say, a talk show about the latest Intel or AMD processors and the GPUs on the market and all that kind of stuff, because it's actually of no, it has no impact on most people buying computers today. And I'm trying to help those people a little bit because, well, let's face it, they're the one who needs help the most too. So I'm always trying to be pretty inclusive to people which are not necessarily very computer literate to start with. Alright, Surface Pro is now available in stores only at Staples, or at least, no, it's available nowhere actually. In theory, it might be available in stores, but in practice, from what I'm seeing here, it seems to be out of stock in most places. Alright, no change there. And I'll be taking a quick bio break. I'll leave you with a list of recommendation per archetypes as they stand right now. So I'll be right back. All right, and I'm back. All right, that is in stores. Almost reached 35% in my to-do list this morning. Hopefully, I can get through that list before I have to leave around. I'd say 10:30, so almost an hour, half an hour from now. Yeah, that's definitely much shorter than I would like. I had a few snags to overcome, and yeah, I'm not on my fastest, I've got to say. And I don't know why. Looks like the overnight updater had a much higher failure rate than usual too. So that leaves me with a lot of extra work. One of those days. Alright, that's done. Always got to keep an eye out for what is currently causing the Corgi proximity alert to go off. Always have to notify the neighborhood dogs that this territory is taken. Okay, and this laptop is now in stores only over at Staples. Price came back up on this one. Price came back up in a big way over at Canada Computer on this one. From 300 to almost 380. Sorry, one of my dog is a little too vocal for my taste right now. Might have to go and take her back inside soon. Still in stores only at Canada Computers. Still sold out a new egg. Yeah, guessing the Devastator 2 combo is on its way out. I'll need to find if a successor came out to replace it. Because there was an attractive low-cost keyboard and mouse combo for gamers. And according to reviews I saw of it, looks like the sensor performance was not too shabby. And yeah, that portion is a little bit uneventful. It's pretty much business as usual for many of those devices at this point. Sadly, not true. The list of things I've recommended on the newsletter, however, I, this one was last recommended on April 13th. That's not a long time ago. And out of stock at Staples for this one. That did not last long. No change here. The source only has this one in French at the moment. Considering most of my clientele, I'm probably going to mark it as unavailable right now. Okay, and this one is now available online only from Canada Computer. So if you don't have one near you, you could order from there instead. This one changed to delivery only. Was online only last time I checked. Okay, that one's gone from Staples. So the MMO gaming mouse. No change on the pricing for the Pixel 2. Assuming the XL's probably still on sale. It was yesterday. Still out of stock from Microsoft here, has been for the last 27 days. That one is in stores only at Staples. Right, no change there. Almost reached the 50% point. Yeah, we're a little bit past the time where I would usually switch off. It's just that, yeah, I'm running so close there. Didn't quite manage to do all I wanted to do before the newsletter now. So I'll probably have a little bit of damage control to do later. And by that I mean just start looking at links differently and probably update a few more. But I think I'll do that after the cast. All right, I think I'll go do that. Let's just compile the stats for the day. Got enough data in there to do that. All right. So let's see which archetypes favored today. And I go interact. All right, so straight from the home page. Oh, that's too much. Probably need to prepare something just for this purpose, just for the sign off. So currently the favored archetypes, we've got the multitasker shopping for a laptop, could be saving almost $340 right now. The aspiring creative shopping for a stationary computer could save $156 right now. Serious multitasker shopping for a laptop could save $135 right now. The gamer shopping for a laptop, we're talking $130 in potential savings there. The video editor shopping for a laptop could potentially save $130. And the multitasker looking for a tablet, so I'm mostly expecting convertible laptop there, but you could save $105 right now as well. So in terms of available savings out there, I'd say this is a pretty good week. It's looking very good for the weekend. So I'll go and work on my newsletter. So the newsletter, the Tech Word Buying newsletter, is coming up shortly. And a little bit later this afternoon, Tech Word Buying video is coming out, which is a 2.5 minute video covering my recommendations for the weekend. It's more or less the video and a more visual version of the email newsletter. So stay tuned for those, and I'll be streaming again tomorrow morning for more TekAdvisor Live. So thank you very much for showing up, and If I don't see you tomorrow, have a great weekend, guys. Bye bye.